And welcome to Retirement UTV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Brian Quaranta. He is president and founder of Secure Money Advisors.
You were almost there.
What did I miss this time? Which?
I know you want to add the R's. I know.
I do, because it just seems like it flows better.
Yeah.
Can we change your last name just to suit me?
I know.
Would that be okay?
I think a lot of people would actually like that, because, I mean, can you imagine, I have clients that have been clients of mine for 20 years, and it's still hard for them to say my last name.
Yeah,
so,
it's just, I like calling you Brian Q.
Brian Q, I'm telling you, my father was called Mr. Q, my grandfather was called Mr. Q, so it just works.
And I may have asked you this before, but how do you order pizza?
How do I order pizza? When you order, if you're getting from a real Italian pizzeria, because I grew up in New Jersey. So, usually the pizzerias up there are owned by, people that speak, Italian. So they love when I call in, Quaranta, we got 2 pies for Quaranta.
They made that sound so easy, Quaranta.
Yeah, there you go. You did it.
Say that one.
Yeah, you could do it that way.
Quaranta. And then I'll Quaranta. I'll move my head, make it really cool. Well, that is so awesome. And I know, Brian, I'm so appreciative that you take the time to do the shows each week, because we know the viewers are really enjoying the amount of information that you're providing, because your business, you've been very busy.
Yeah.
We talked about when the pandemic hit, how that shifted just the course of business. A lot of meetings were via Zoom, but now you're comfortable having people back in the office, and the meetings have been just incredible. So let's talk about how busy you've been for a little bit.
Very busy. Yeah, very busy. I mean, I'm booked probably 4 or 5 weeks out right now. And it just shows you how desperate people are. I don't want to say desperate, but how in need people are. Hungry for good information from reliable sources. And my industry's made it very difficult for people to make decisions. Google has not helped with that. Right. Because friend or foe. Yeah, friend or foe. Paralysis by analysis, right? So what happens is, people get on, they start reading about things, they're not sure what to do. And what we don't want to have happen is we don't want people procrastinating, kicking the can down the road on very, very important decisions that they need to make. Absolutely. Because there's so much good that you can do in planning if you have time. Oh, sure. So many people wait till the very last minute to put together a plan, which if that's you, I mean, there's no judgment there. It is what it is. But if you can get out in front of it, to where you're planning 10 years for retirement, or even at least 5 years from retirement, there's a lot of great things that you can do and take advantage of, like conversion strategies, where we can go from taxable income to tax-free income. But it takes time to put together those strategies, and it takes time to implement those strategies. So, our job really, my team and I, we wake up every day to come in and provide accurate information, good information, black and white, that people can make decisions. Because everything out there that you can do in financial planning has a purpose. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Right. But there's pros and cons to everything you do. And there's no perfect investment out there. Yeah. There's always something that you have to accept about a particular investment strategy, but you got to weigh that, and you got to determine, are the rewards worth the risk? Are the restrictions worth the restrictions? Whatever it might be. But our job is to help guide in those areas so they can make informed decisions. So in case someone is just tuning in for the first time, Brian, let's talk about just the conceptual stages of Secure Money Advisors. How did you bring it all together? What was the seed that you planted, if you will? Well, been in the business for over 20 years now, practicing for over 20 years, and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I see what's out there in the marketplace, and people are not getting financial planning advice. They're being sold financial products. And financial planning is very comprehensive, and it focuses on 5 key areas: income, investments, taxes, healthcare, and legacy planning. If you make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed in those 5 areas, and you understand the best practices of how to generate, maximize your cash flow in retirement and do it in the most tax efficient way, get the most from your investments as far as the return goes, but also try to minimize as much risk as possible, making sure that you have a good healthcare strategy, whether that be that you want to retire before the age of 65 and you need to get some type of insurance to get you to Medicare age, but then once you get to Medicare age, what's the appropriate supplement to get? How much should I spend on it? There's good ones, there's better ones for each individual based on their own needs. And then of course, taxes. We want to make sure that taxes are positioned the best.
Sure.
And of course, legacy. Legacy planning is important because most people, when they pass, they want to make sure that the money goes to their loved ones and not the IRS.
Yeah.
So those are the key areas that we focus on when folks come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, I want to ask you your opinion on Social Security. That's been such a hot topic lately, especially in the news and what have you. Do you think it's going to go away? Is it going to disappear?
I don't. No,
okay.
I don't. We know that the government's kicked the can down the road and hasn't, Social Security is definitely underfunded. We know that. But I just think that, based on the peer groups that I'm involved and the study groups that I'm part of across the country, we talk about these things. Okay. And I think it would be political suicide to any politician to not fix Social Security. Sure. Because you think we have challenges right now in our economy. Could you imagine if you started taking away people's Social Security checks?
Absolutely
Especially
not.
To the greatest generation ever, which is the baby boomer generation, that have worked their entire lives to get this benefit.
Yeah, and I think the largest voting population as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course, yeah. So I think you'll see changes to the younger generation. They might increase the retirement age, the early retirement age from maybe 62 to 63. They may change the full retirement age. There'll be changes in those areas. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Going to have to be.
Are you seeing people retire earlier today, Brian, than in years past?
Yes, especially what took place, because I think what the pandemic did for most people is they were forced to work at home.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden they were with their families again. And they didn't have to wake up and get ready and drive to the city and have this long commute to where they're spending an hour commuting. And employers have actually found that their employees are more efficient. But people that were on the brink of retirement anyway, I think it really kicked it into gear for them to say, you know what, I think I'm just done. And we had a lot of people that we had on 3 to 5 year plans to retire, and we actually wound up implementing the plan 3 to 5 years earlier and retired them now versus waiting, which the original plan was to wait maybe 3 to 5 years. But we actually wound up retiring them early. Wow. And that's the great part about having a plan, Cynthia, because when you have a plan, you can do those things. You can walk into work one day and get frustrated and say, you know what, I'm calling Secure Money Advisors because I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
And when you map out a plan based around good black and white math, you'll be able to have that level of control.
And again, it's all about peace of mind.
It is.
You're granting people peace of mind, the ability to sleep at night, knowing that no matter what happens in their life, in the current situation, or let's fast forward to something else that could happen, they're going to be secure.
Yeah, and that peace of mind doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
There is best practices that you can utilize that give you that peace of mind. And there's certain strategies that will allow you to sleep well at night. And there's so many people that just don't understand those strategies or have never been educated about them. And that's part of the process when you come to Secure Money Advisors is we teach you those things.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people say, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
Or I heard a little bit about it, but nobody ever really explained to me the benefit of doing it that way.
Yeah.
So that's something that we get excited about when we see people for the first time connecting the dots and going, wow, I didn't know it could be that way.
Well, something I'm excited about, Brian, is we're going to open up the phone lines for the very first time this week. Do you want to tell the viewing audience what they can expect to receive today?
Absolutely. Folks, for the next 10 callers, and don't procrastinate on this. In order to make change, you have to take action. So take action. Call, schedule a time to come in, and take advantage of what my offer is going to be here. First off, when you come in, we are actually going to build a plan with you. Right? We're not about dictating what you need to do. We're about working with you and executing on a plan together. And when you come in, we're going to look at where you are, where you need to go, and how we can improve. What we want to do is we want to help maximize your overall wealth and mitigate any potential risk and eroding factors to your situations, such as lawsuits, disabilities, taxes, or even premature death. So it'll be a very thorough meeting. You'll get a lot out of it, and we'll be able to determine whether or not we want to move forward with those changes or not. But the most important thing is that you get up off the couch and take action and call and schedule a time to come in. So again, for the next 10 callers, that's 1-888-382-1298. 1-888-382-1298. That's a complimentary, no cost, folks, no cost for you to come in and sit down with us and walk through that process.
Brian, thank you so much. To the viewing audience at home, the phone lines are now open and we can see them. They're already lighting up. And for your convenience, there is a second phone line that we've added this week because we know that there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of this offer. Once again, the number to call is 888-382-1298. Don't miss this opportunity for that complimentary consultation with Brian Q to plan your retirement safely. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to Retirement UTV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Brian Quaranta. He is president and founder of Secure Money Advisors. Quaranta.
Oh, you're almost there.
Quaranta.
I think we're definitely, you know what, we're going to have to figure out, what charities we're going to be able to give to.
And
wouldn't that be great?
We should start
there. And then you could just get it wrong all the time because then it'd be just for good.
Well, I can think of a few that we should definitely be donating to, so that would be awesome. One of these days, it's just going to flow. Quaranta.
That's right.
Can I do it like that?
Yeah, you're better if you do it that way.
So can I use my hands?
Yes, the hand will really help you get it out.
I think so, because at home we'd all talk with our hands. It's an Italian family, so it's like, what are you thinking? So this would be great. Quaranta.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. So if you did that out of the gates, I'd give you at least 4 gold stars.
Still not 5?
Almost. You're almost there.
You're just impossible today. I can't get 5 stars. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, in the past we were talking about people that are actually coming in to sit with you and that are going through their process to plan for their retirement. We talked about the importance of cash flow, but Brian, let me ask you, what are some of the things that can cause a retirement income gap? What can cause a shortfall for someone?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, obviously the obvious thing is debt, right? How much debt does an individual have? Or do we still have mortgage payments, car payments, things along those lines? But one that some people don't take into account is the cost of health insurance, especially if you want to retire before the age of 65 and what the cost of that would be. For a married couple, you could be looking over $1,000 a month for health coverage. But also when you get into the planning process, what can cause shortfalls is a premature death of your spouse, right? That can cause a major shortfall because with Social Security, what happens is if your spouse dies, Social Security takes away the lowest check. The surviving spouse would pick up the highest check. But still, according to AARP, the average loss of income at death to a married couple, so the surviving spouse, according to AARP, would have 40% less income to live off of when their spouse dies. That's a lot of income to lose. That's a lot of income to lose. So that means that you're going to have a way to mitigate that loss of income. Now, everybody's reaction to that is, well, there'll be less expenses if I'm gone. Really? I've been practicing for over 20 years. Let me tell you, the expenses don't go down by much. So if you think that when you die, it's going to be as simple as expenses going down, I hate to tell you, you have it wrong, because typically you don't see expenses go down by much. You might give up a car, you might have less car insurance, but it's not going to be this drastic amount to where a 40% loss of income is still going to have an impact, even though there's less expenses. So you really got to plan for this. But the last thing you want your spouse doing too is having to, change their lifestyle now that you're gone. Typically, when a spouse dies, what you see is the other spouse, after they're done grieving, they will start to travel more because they want to spend more time with their kids or their grandkids, or they want to go see brothers and sisters or wherever it is because they're alone at home. So they want to get out into the world and see the people they love and care about. So they actually wind up spending more with the travel.
Wow.
Or all of a sudden they want to move out of the house that they're in and they want to move into a new home. And typically they want to move into a newer home, which usually costs more money. So don't make it in your mind that when you lose a spouse, it's going to be easy because there's going to be less expenses. I hate to tell you, it doesn't work out that way in real practice, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you might think that might work that way, but it really doesn't.
Okay. It's amazing when I hear you talk about it, because also let's factor in, let's say, inflation,
Sure.
right? When you talk about the importance of a true retirement plan, also factor in what costs could be down the road due to inflation as well.
We've had a lot of clients die. I mean, we just do. I mean, we're a busy firm. We manage money for a lot of people. So we deal with it. We deal with it on a monthly basis. Never once has a spouse ever called me and said, I have too much money coming in. The surviving spouse, right?
Brian, I'm overwhelmed.
That's typically what I hear. And they'll say, I need to increase my income. I need to increase my income. That's what we typically hear.
Okay. And you have ways to help people do that, which I love listening to the people that have actually been able to glean that consultation with you, because the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. People are saying that when they come into your office, they feel that you're giving them individual, one-on-one attention. And that's a gift, because when you go to the doctor's office even, they spend, and I'm not insulting doctors, but you know what I mean, they spend maybe 10 minutes with you and they're off to the next room. They feel that you're really taking the time to spend with them. And that's a huge testimonial for you, Brian.
Well, look, I mean, it's consultative. And in order to work together to build a plan, with each individual I work with, there's an education process that has to happen. And so that education takes time, but it's worth it in the end. Because they understand. And when they understand, they feel very comfortable in the planning process and the new plan that they're going to implement, because they were part of the process. When you're part of the process, you connect all the dots. And you feel comfortable moving forward.
You feel involved.
Typically what happens is you go in, a firm asks you some questions and they come back with a proposal and you go, well, how did you get from point A to point B? Right? I mean, I don't, and they're dictating what I need to do. Well, why are you going to do that? We tell you why. We work together, and there's a communication that happens between us with them, to where I know that I'm going to challenge some of their financial beliefs, because you don't know what you don't know. Right? When I've been practicing for 20 years, if I went in, and met with another person that specializes in something, whether it be a home builder or whoever it might be, I mean, we just had to have a furnace replaced, right? The guy comes in and I had 2 quotes come in. The first guy comes in and he basically tells me how much it's going to cost, what I need to do. The next guy that comes in takes the time to educate me of why it's going to cost me the money that it's going to cost me and how I'm going to get more efficiency. And that guy was a little bit more expensive, but guess who I went with?
You went with that guy?
I went with him because he took the time to help me understand what was taking place and why we needed to do what we needed to do.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, we're going to go ahead and open up those phone lines again. So I'm going to tell the viewers what they can expect to receive, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
All right. To the viewers at home, we have about 6 spots left this week. That number to call once again is 888-382-1298. Brian is offering you a complimentary consultation. He'd like you to take the time to come into the office to sit with him. Let's go over what you currently have in place. Or if you're designing something for the very first time, Brian can help you design a retirement plan that's suited to your needs, very personalized, very one-on-one, so that you can weather any storm, no matter what hits down the road. You'll be protected and you'll have peace of mind to sleep at night. Once again, 6 spots only remain and the phone lines are open. The number to call is 888-382-1298. We'll be right back momentarily with Brian Q with more questions and answers for you.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Retirement UTV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined by Brian Quaranta. He is president and founder of Secure Money Advisors. And I used the hand that time. It still sounded the same. I'm done.
I know.
I'm laughing. So as we were going...
It's only been 25 episodes.
And we have 25 more to go, probably. 10 years from now, it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to come and say, guess what? I changed my last name.
Yeah, I changed it for you. Just for you. I know. Yeah.
We're going to have to ask your mom first. Okay. So I wanted to actually talk to you because as the phone lines were lighting up, we're able to glean some viewer questions.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do one show down the road that's just going to be viewer questions completely, but I think we have time to tackle a couple today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the first one is, Brian, I enjoy watching your show very much. I'm 5 years away from retirement. What advice do you have for me? What should I be doing right now?
Great question. Well, first off, I would look at how are your expenses right now? Do you still have debts to pay off? You know, one thing that we can do as we're approaching retirement, especially 5 years out, is try to get those expenses as low as we could possibly get them.
Okay.
So these are times when you might want to look at your contributions to your employer plans. So a lot of times people are putting more in than what the employer is actually contributing, okay? And so let's say you're putting more in than what the employer's matching, right? So you're putting more in. Well, maybe you pull back on that and you redirect that money to paying down the debt. And here's why. Let's say that you have a mortgage of $1,000 a month, okay? And we could get that paid off by redirecting the excess money that you've been putting into your 401k plan or any type of retirement. And we could redirect that and put more money on paying off the mortgage every single month. And maybe we can get that mortgage paid off by the time you retire.
Okay.
Well, that means that we now pick up an additional $1,000 a month in cash flow. And now here's how we would calculate that. The little bit of extra money that you're putting into the plan, if you were to put that in the plan, how much would we need that to grow to generate $1,000 a month in cash flow versus if I pay off a debt, I know I'm going to be guaranteed to pick that $1,000 up in cash flow, right? And
sure.
Because when we're putting that into a plan, we have no idea whether or not we'll be able to generate that cash flow because we have no idea how those investments are going to perform. So if we want to pick up additional cash flow, the first thing we can do is focus on getting those expenses as low as we can.
Okay.
The second thing is, can we start to do some tax planning so that when we do generate cash flow in retirement, we can start to generate it tax-free? Those are the two primary things we want to look at because, again, lower expenses means that less money we've got to take from the plan, but also with the tax planning, that means any money we take out is all tax-free.
Awesome. That would be fantastic. Thank you, Brian. That was an excellent answer. I think we have time for just one more. It says, Brian, I'm very confused. I want to make sure I understand this. Can you help me clarify what are the best uses of my assets in retirement? How do you go about determining that? That's a great question.
Yeah, it is. Well, again, it all comes down. Do you need cash flow? Do you not?
Yeah.
If you don't need cash flow, then how do we make sure that we leverage that wealth so it's not eroded by taxes later on down the road? Because remember, you know, when you turn 72, the IRS is going to require that you start taking money out of your accounts,
sure.
right? So that's going to erode to taxation. When you die, it could potentially erode to taxation. Are you giving to charities? There's huge tax benefits for giving to charities right now. For example, you could redirect your RMD and not have to pay taxes on your RMD if you give the RMD to charity. So rather than paying a charity from your bank account, you could just give them your RMD, and that would be tax-free to you and tax-free to the charity.
That's fantastic.
So the best uses are really how to, again, do I maximize my overall wealth?
Yeah.
Whether you need to generate income or not, there's still things that you're going to want to do, because if you just allow them to sit in retirement accounts, right, or non-retirement accounts, they're going to be eroded by taxation anyway, right? So
sure.
How do I leverage that to maximize my overall wealth, not only to myself, but to whoever might inherit that money too?
Okay.
So the best uses are a little bit different for everybody.
Sure.
But we want to leverage the wealth as much as we can so that we can benefit not only the client, but whoever they're going to leave the money to.
Sure. Brian, for the people that were fortunate enough to obtain the consultation with you today, what can they expect by the first visit with you? What does that look like? How long does it take?
Yeah. Well, we've developed a roadmap.
Okay.
You know, and that roadmap is how do we get from point A to point B, where we are right now and where we need to go. First, it's really understanding where are you. Educate me a little bit on what you've been doing, right? And tell me what we need from the plan. And we'll help by asking questions, right? Sometimes people don't know exactly, but the number one question we always get is, am I on the right track? Well, am I on the right track means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Right.
But understanding where you are is key to it, and we do that by asking a lot of questions.
Okay.
Then we look at that and we say, okay, could we help change this person's lifestyle? Could we help enhance what they're doing? And from there, what we can do is we can run a quick analysis on certain things, and we can start to educate what would happen if we do these what-if scenarios.
Okay.
And from there, we can start to give you turn-by-turn directions on what to do next,
okay.
and how to, again, maximize your overall wealth. And that's what they can expect when they come in. The other thing they can expect is for us to work together as a team to build this, right? Not somebody dictating what they need to do. And that's why, you know, for the next 10 callers, I think there's only 2 spots left.
Only 2 left.
2 spots left. If you call in, we're going to do this at no cost for you. We're going to sit down, we're going to go through your planning, we're going to give you that complimentary view, we'll ask you lots of questions. It will be an opportunity for you to make change. People are not coming to Secure Money Advisors to kick the tires. They're coming to make changes that improve their overall financial situation. So again, for those that call 1-888-382-1298, you're going to get a complimentary review at no cost, no obligation.
Brian, thank you so much for your time again this week. To the viewers at home, once again, the phone lines are now open with 2 spots available only. That number to call is 888-382-1298. We know you have a lot of questions about retirement. Brian is able to give the answers to you. Thank you for spending time with us. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we will see you again next week.